where better to start with the Muppets franchise than the very first big screen adventure? Oh, okay, apparently I've just been handed a note to say this is actually the 7th movie. Anyway, here's that song from that movie. Maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh.
Maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh.
Thank you for joining that song from that movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs. I am your me host, Dietrich, and we're joined by not quite a mop and not quite a puppet, but man, Alex.
So what was it again? Not quite a mop.
Not quite a puppet.
Not quite a puppet. Not quite a mop, not quite a puppet.
You've seen The Simpsons, right? You've seen the joke before. And why is that one Muppet made out of leather? And we're also joined by a frog halfway down the stairs, Ben.
I feel like I've got a frog in my throat.
Halfway down the throat?
Which everyone says is the stairs of the human body.
You've often said that, and I've wondered why.
Now you know.
I would like to know, in the past fortnight, what have you been watching?
Cha 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 cha.
I never know which version to play, whether or not Alex wants to give like as a fresh rendition of Cha 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 every time.
Yeah, well, can do.
Right, guys, what have you been watching?
I had a weird reflective moment after I watched Heat and then watched Point Break and started to wonder, am I trying to decide whether to get into a life of crime and not knowing whether it's a good thing or a bad thing? Because those films don't tell me. I can't tell. Is it better to be a Pacino or a De Niro? Is it better to be a Reeves or a
Paul Walker?
The
Patrick Swayze
paedophile from Donnie Darko. Swayze.
Wait, what?
Jesus.
He's a paedophile in Donnie Darko. Yeah.
Yes, he is. Is that Patrick Swayze though?
It is, yeah.
Is it? Okay. It's just not Shooter McGavin. I remember Shooter McGavin is in Donnie Darko at one point.
Is he?
I think so.
I don't know.
Shooting.
So they're great films. And then I finally watched Doctor Strange, and I don't think I liked it. Lots of Dutch angles. Man likes a Dutch angle.
It's just a very boring 6 out of 10 film, as we said last week.
I liked the bit with, is it Black Bolt?
Yes, I think that sequence is probably the best bit.
Yeah, I really sat up and paid attention for those 8 minutes, and then I went back to being whelmed.
How about you, Alex?
I watched a film called Mothering Sunday, which was on Amazon Prime. It was alright. I wouldn't really recommend it. It was like a historic, a film set in 1920s. It was a good film in there somewhere. It was kind of, it had a lot of good themes, and it was based on a novel, so I think the novel probably is better. It felt like, when you're watching a film that's based on a novel, I can see why this works better as a book, and probably was more successful as a book. And it was very much like that. So, but it had a good cast. It had Olivia Colman in it, and Colin Firth, and that guy who's in everything who plays Prince Charles in The Crown. So, yeah, good cast.
Who plays Prince Charles in The Crown? I've never watched The Crown.
I've never watched it either.
He's in a lot of things.
Is it like a really left field pick to appease to modern audiences like Martin Lawrence or someone?
Modern audiences, Martin Lawrence.
No. I mean, Matt Smith is in The Crown, but he plays Prince Philip.
If I saw a press release saying in the next series of The Crown, Prince Andrew was being played by Martin Lawrence, I would be on it. I'd be in there. I'd be binging all the other seasons just to catch up. So I know how this is going to go down.
Yeah, same, to be fair.
Prince Andrew has been in The Crown, like a young Prince Andrew, but it was not played by Martin Lawrence. His name's Josh O'Connor, if you wanted to know the actor's name.
That is not Martin
He's
Lawrence.
been in many things. You will know his face. He has been in God's Own Country.
Blue Streak.
Emma.
That's a great film.
He was in the Dorrells TV show. So yeah, he's the main guy in, one of the two main guys in God's Own Country.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Wouldn't not recommend it, but also wouldn't go out of my way to tell somebody to watch it. That's my summary of the film.
Classic.
In preparation for the Amazon Lord of the Rings TV show, me and my wife have been slowly making our way through the Middle-earth films, so we've watched the first 2 Hobbit films.
Ugh.
The first one, I liked it, but it's one of those things where you're watching it going, I've seen the superior version of these films.
Yeah, well, that's basically The The Hobbit, isn't it? So annoyingly, you can just be it's just been done better. It does have some bangers in it.
the music and the way it looks and like the whole like world. Look, it looks so good on screen, but in these Hobbit films, the plot is just it's paper thin, and they're having to bulk things out with a song that takes like 15 minutes.
To be fair, the song is in the novel.
It's a banging song. We are not going to do the Hobbit films until we've done that song that Pippin sings in Return of the King.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing I've watched this weekend, if you want to join in, it's coming home. It's coming home.
No, it's home. It's home.
It's already home. We fucking did it.
It couldn't come home if it was here. It was in the stadium already. It would have the only other option was it leaving home.
I didn't think that we'd actually see us become European champions in our lifetime.
At the time that this podcast goes out, Germany are still trying to get the ball out of the corner.
It's absolute masterclass of shithousing. It really was.
I've never seen a German football lose their cool as much as that last 5 minutes of extra time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so angry, and I was here for it, and
straight to my veins.
It was about time that we were the shithouses.
yeah.
I looked at like the past winners, and I think there's only been like 8 or 9 competitions, and it's just all Germany except for like the odd one. It's like they didn't need it.
And the Netherlands.
Yeah, Germany have won it 8 times. Netherlands have won it once, and I think Norway's won it once.
Yeah,
and
I think
now
Sweden maybe won the first one.
That first one, though, if I remember rightly, it was literally just 2 teams going, yeah, we'll just play against each other. Much like when people go, Sir Alf Ramsey got us to a semi-final of a Euros. It was like there was only 4 teams in the first tournament.
Oh, Ralph.
Anyway, so this week we present to you a breakdown of all the songs in the movie The Muppets, but mostly Man on Muppet. That's a reference to The Muppets. Did anyone get that? Yeah.
Somehow got
It's
it.
an obscure reference. So to find out what was happening in the world when the movie came out.
Time for some history.
Am I just going?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So I thought I was waiting for like a lead in. It's been a long time since I've done an episode, so, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going back to November 2011, which is not that long ago. 11 years ago. And people were learning what they didn't already know, and that was that they were beautiful, as One Direction released their debut album, Up All Night. I think we've covered the collapse of One Direction before, but now we're covering the beginning. Did you guys see that recent video about how the band was formed during that season of X Factor?
And how Liam was saying that he was the lead singer.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Which he was on the X Factor. He was the lead singer of One
yeah.
Direction. As soon as X Factor finished, he was relegated to 3rd place.
Yep.
But what I loved about the video is like, was it Niall that they picked first? He was like, well, I've got to build a band around Niall. Trying to enjoy it a lot.
That was Louis Walsh, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it was Louis Walsh. They were just like, essentially, these look good together. These look cute together. But I feel like Nicole Scherzinger should now be like given credit for the formation of One Direction. I think that's what came out of the video. Something else that was happening in November 2011. Minecraft was originally released. Are you two Minecrafters? Is that the collective term for people who play Minecraft?
I don't know. Completely passed me by. I think it's the first pop culture phenomenon that just didn't resonate with me.
Do you think it just came
just
just too late, wasn't it? It was just kind of in that period after we'd kind of stopped really playing loads.
But like, I still get the appeal of like things that have come after our sort of like, you know, sort of our late teens, early adulthood. Fortnite. But I can see the appeal of Fortnite, and I can see the appeal of a lot of things that come, but I just could not imagine just sitting for like what some kids do for like 6 hours and just build things out of blocks.
Did you ever play The Sims?
Like, I played Roller Coaster Tycoon, yeah, but
what Lego?
I was terrible at Lego.
Terrible at Lego.
Roller Coaster Tycoon is a great example, and like Theme Hospital and stuff like that. I love those games, but yeah, unlike you, Ben, I can see the appeal, but I would never play.
But they were better graphics than Minecraft.
I don't get it. It's still huge.
Yeah, still big, still massive. So there were a lot of films that came out in November 2011. Big, month for movies. I'm going to list a few. Some of them good, some of them, well, I'll let you make up your mind. Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. Oh no, sorry, a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Let the franchise down.
Yeah, shocking. Absolute a franchise.
Jack and Jill.
Oh wow! Now that's a Orson Welles level creation.
How about Happy Feet 2?
The Happening.
Happening.
The Footing. Footloose.
There were some good films. Tyrannosaur. I don't know if you've seen Tyrannosaur. That's a very good film.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's dark as sin.
Yeah. The Artist. Obviously a future Oscar winner. Hugo. Maybe a slightly misunderstood film. I think it was quite good.
Misunderstood, yeah.
Arthur Christmas, which I think we can all agree is one of the best Christmas films ever made.
Oh, brilliant Christmas film.
Yeah. And then, of course, The Muppets, which is what we're doing today, as this always happens. So, The Muppets. It was directed by James, I'm going to say Bobbin, but it could be Bobin. I'm willing to be corrected on that. Who some people may know, may not know. He was involved in a lot of Sacha Baron Cohen's projects, like the Ali G Show and Borat and things like that. I think he directed Borat, maybe. And also Flight of the Conchords, which will come up a lot in this episode. And it was written by Jason Segel and Nicholas Stoller. It's the 7th theatrical film featuring the beloved Muppets.
Yep.
And it stars Jason Segel, Amy Adams, Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, etc., etc., as well as a cohort. I could have gone through them all, but obviously no. As a cohort of cameos, including, of course, Jack Black in his probably his finest ever role. The story follows the new character of superfan Walter, who, along with his brother Gary and his girlfriend Mary, convinced the Muppet Collective to put on a show to save their iconic theatre from an evil oil baron. So, what do we think?
So when I saw this for the first time, I liked it, but I didn't think it was great. I had heard very good critics' responses to this, but I'd just seen Muppets Most Wanted before seeing this at the cinema.
Okay.
And so I saw that one first and I enjoyed it. So I went back and watched this one, only to find that there was a lot of repeated jokes and themes and like the meta-ness of it was all there. So it sort of ruined this film, despite the fact I know that makes no sense because Most Wanted is the sequel to this film. Like literal, like picks up the second this film ends and disregards the credits.
Which is quite fun. I enjoy that.
Yeah, so watching it back in preparation for this episode, this movie really worked for me and it all felt really fresh. I guess maybe I need to go back and watch Most Wanted because I liked that at the time, and now maybe I'll agree with everyone else that it wasn't as good as The Muppets.
It's not. I was trying to think about whether I have like a history, because a big thing about this film is nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if I have a connection to the Muppets.
A rainbow
through
connection.
Nostalgia, because I should have tried. I should have done it. Deleting my notes. Because my only connection to the Muppets is a few of the films, which I loved as a kid. I love Muppets Christmas Carol, and I love Muppet Treasure Island. But I've never really watched the TV shows. I don't feel like I've got that nostalgic connection that I think a lot of critics had, because I think most of it is callbacks. I do like this. I just can't always put a finger on why, because we'll go into it. I don't think the songs are all incredible. I think there's something, I don't know, just beloved, like it just is in the zeitgeist of, you see Kermit and you're like, oh, this is good. I like you, Kermit. yeah. Whatever you do, I'll watch you doing anything. I think it's the physicality of it. I think that's what I like in the humour. If you go and read old reviews of like the first Muppets film, a lot of the praise is like, we can see the legs. We can actually see the legs. How is Kermit riding a bike?
It does still look incredible when you watch that.
But in a modern sense, it's like, that's gone now, and there's a lot, obviously, of techniques that they've learned. But just the physicality of using puppets, and I know a lot of modern films, maybe in the last 10 years, have gone back to the physicality element away from the CGI mess that was the early noughties. I think it helps the humour a lot in this. Just that the feels like there's a texture to them alongside Jason Segel and alongside Amy Adams that just feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest criticism of this film, I don't like Jason Segel's face.
Well, that's quite a big criticism because it pops up a lot.
When he smiles, it's too fake. I liked How I Met Your Mother. I find him funny. He was probably one of the better people in the show. But the smile that he does is just, it looks like he's dying behind his eyes. If you watch some of the songs, you watch him back, he's just got this proper shit-eating grin. And I want it to go.
It's surprising you say that, because I actually really enjoy him in this film. I don't know whether it is the corny and cheesiness. I think that's
what I enjoy about it. He leans into it.
Yeah,
and it does. Well, yeah, it's very meta. It's very self-referential. I imagine there's a lot of callbacks to things I'm not even aware of. But I enjoy it. I won't say I'm enthralled by it. I would still rather watch Christmas Carol or Treasure Island.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same as you two. I think I saw it in the cinema actually when it first came out. I think I've seen Most Wanted D, but I think it was I didn't see that one in the cinema, so I think it was a few years later, and I didn't remember loving that one as much. So I'm very much with the critics on this one.
Yeah.
But I think when I saw this the first time, I was like, this is amazing. Because the previous Muppets film was Muppets from Space, which is from 1999.
Oh, God, that is absolutely shocking.
Which isn't great. And I think...
Put some respect on the Muppets Wizard of Oz with a shanty.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. But I didn't have much of a rainbow connection to the TV show either, because my entire knowledge of the Muppets is based on basically the two films, Treasure Island and Christmas Carol. So actually, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, this is great. Why have I not always been watching the Muppets?" But I think there are a lot of callbacks to things in the TV show, and obviously the end sequence with the whole them putting on a show to save the theatre, and there's a lot of references there to things that maybe go over the heads of someone who's not like a keen Muppets fan, because it does seem like there's a lot of lip service, but I think it probably isn't over the top because of it doesn't interrupt your enjoyment of the film. Do you want some facts? Let's have some film facts.
Yeah.
So the film was a critical and commercial success, and it grossed $165 million worldwide, a budget of 45.
Big.
Yeah, very, very substantial. It garnered praise for its humour, its music, and much like Space Jam, which I feel like there's a little bit of a connection here, a revitalisation of the characters. Because I did actually write in my original notes, did it deserve the Looney Tunes Space Jam treatment? Which is a callback to an earlier episode. It outgrossed every previous Muppet film, but I don't think that's surprising. But it became the highest grossing puppet film of all time.
Even more so than Labyrinth?
It's Labyrinth a puppet film? I guess it might.
Yeah. It's got Frank Oz all the way over it.
It's got puppets in it.
Okay.
It's the best puppet musical film.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking of Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, God, yeah. That's very, very different.
When you said it, the first thing that came to my head, I was like, what's the thing with the hands, the eyes and the hands? Was that a puppet?
Dance Magic Dance and David
Terrifying
Bowie's
puppet. Yeah, David Bowie. Okay, yeah, of course, Labyrinth. So originally the film was titled The Greatest Muppet Movie of All Time with 3 exclamation points. And another former title of the film was The Cheapest Muppet Movie Ever Made with only 1 exclamation point. I can see why they went with just the Muppet Movie.
Yep.
So cameos, we spoke briefly about cameos. There's quite a lot of people who do feature in the film. But when the film was originally leaked, there was a leak of the script, and it suggested that this list of people would feature. And I don't know if these people are too famous, but I'll go through them. So Vince Vaughn, probably could see him in it.
Yep.
John Favreau,
Oh yeah, definitely.
maybe see him in it. Christian Bale.
That makes no sense.
Ben Stiller, Steve Carell, yeah. George Clooney. Easy. I mean, Jack Black is in the film. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Now that would have been good.
Would have been interesting. Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt is in the film. Bob Saget.
Yeah.
So to market the film, the Muppets appeared on TV shows across the world, including The X Factor with Ollie Murs, which, I mean, must have been the highlight of their career, not his, obviously. They also featured
not the highlights of Kermit's.
Yeah. They also featured on Saturday Night Live and this one for you, Monday Night Raw.
Yep, it's one of the best episodes ever.
Really? They were on Monday Night Raw.
They were on Monday Night Raw, and what I enjoy is on the thing that I read, it said they interacted with several WWE superstars, including Jack Swagger, Hornswoggle, and Sheamus.
That Sheamus, have you seen that Sheamus bit?
I mean, I know I watched it at the time, but you're gonna have to remind me.
Yeah, so it's like Sheamus bumps into Beaker and he's like, "Oh, how's the family? I'm sorry I couldn't make the family reunion. How's Aunt Teresa?" or something like that. So but apparently Sheamus, ginger-haired wrestler, for people who don't know, is part of the Beaker family.
Beakerverse?
Yeah, Beakerverse, part of the Beakerverse, that works.
The PG world of WWE as it was.
It was,
no, no longer.
Not anymore. No longer. So they created spoof trailers for this film, which appeared before actual cinema releases, poking fun at films that were released in the same year. I'm going to list them, and I'm going to see if you can guess the films. You probably won't be able to with a lot of them because they're nothing. Some of them are really on the nose, some of them are just like, I don't see how that's related. So, films from the year 2011. The Fuzzy Pack.
The Hangover.
Hangover Part 2, D. I'm gonna give that to you. But yes,
very nice. Well done, D.
Being Green.
The Hulk?
Being Green.
Close. It is a superhero film. Terrible superhero film.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern. God.
2 for 2.
Right, this one's really difficult. The Pig with the froggy tattoo.
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yes. Abnormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity.
3.
Right, yep.
Dancing on
one.
Happy Feet. Obviously, we've already mentioned Happy Feet 2, so I won't. Fuss in Boots.
Puss in Boots.
Okay, nice, clever.
Breaking Prawn.
Twilight.
Breaking Dawn Part 2. So, there was some pre-release criticism of the Muppets film from some previous Muppet performers and the film's portrayal of the characters.
Yeah.
Retired Muppet performer Frank Oz, who is one of the main originators of the Muppet characters, initially disapproved of the script and thought that the early version was disrespectful towards the characters. But after the film's release, he did modify his earlier statement, and he said he thought that the film was really sweet and fun. A little too safe, a little retro.
A little too safe?
A little too safe, because he says, I prefer a more cutting edge in the Muppets. I think that must be a reference to the TV show, because I feel like the films that I've seen, there's not really anything controversial happening.
If anything, it's taking very obvious, very basic stories and just having them be a bit zany.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, classic.
That's all the Muppets needs to be, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think if it was complex story, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to the reference to Space Jam, he says that the Muppets never really went anywhere and they were still part of the subculture. Would you agree with that? I think I probably would more than maybe I mean, it's difficult to know because obviously Space Jam came out in 1996, so I don't know what the world was in between the years of when it was stopped showing in 1996. Whereas with this, I think we've already discussed that we maybe had a connection to it. Do you think that there was a wave of a generation that didn't know what the Muppets was until 2011?
No, I think because, especially Kermit and Miss Piggy, I think because they've got a physicality, you can pull them out quite easily and have like a cutaway gag, say like on SNL or like a Jimmy Fallon or something, and you just throw them in. Whereas you can't do that with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. It's harder. So I think it's easier for those things to die down. Whereas Kermit, I think, will always stay relevant because he can always be used in a lot of things.
Yeah, it's very versatile.
He's also in a lot of memes. He is a very popular meme,
The one where he's drinking the Lipton's tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Darth Kermit.
Yep.
I just wanted to say, I really wish there was like a proper Muppets museum that they teased in this film.
Oh, yeah.
It annoys me that there isn't like a real proper Muppets land in any of the Disney parks. There's not a Muppet studio. I know there's like a shrinking Muppets courtyard in Hollywood studios. I mean, it has a great show in it, but like it's tiny, and the Muppets deserve better.
It's funny you mention this because I didn't actually look too far into it, but there is a part on the Muppets Wikipedia page that is just entitled theme parks, I think.
They do have a lot of presence in the parks. Just it's like they get plonked here and there, and they do like little shows and stuff. But I feel like they need to have like an actual proper "I'm going to Muppets Land" sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
or Muppet Studio, because it's right there.
Yeah, like for the puppets to be in museums and stuff, so you could see them.
Yeah.
Because like if you go to Bradford Media Museum, there's like a lot of Wallace and Gromit like scenes and things like that, and characters from like Captain Scarlet, and it's kind of cool just to see the actual size of them. Because like there's a full-on scene from The Wrong Trousers, the one where the part where he steals the diamond when he's upside down on the roof, and they've got like the full set. It's quite amazing. Anyway, so let's move on to the music. The film features 5 original songs, along with songs from the outside world, like Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard by Paul Simon, We Built This City on Rock and Roll by Starship, and comedy covers, and a few remasters of their classic songs, like the Oscar-nominated Rainbow Connection from the original 1979 Muppet movie. But yeah, barring Pictures in My Head, which we'll come to obviously when we talk about the songs, the other original songs were written by Brett McKenzie, who you may know as the non-Jermaine Clement member of Flight of the Conchords, is how I've listed him. So Disney weren't sure about the sort of 70s power ballad / show tune style that he goes for in the songs, which again we'll come on to. And McKenzie described their concern in an interview as they wanted less Harry Nilsson and more Hannah Montana, which I think sounds funny in 2022, but obviously Hannah Montana was kind of the contemporary pop music for the time. But it wasn't the only concern that was expressed about his writing of the songs. He made a few Muppet faux pas. Muppet Performer's Best. He rewrote some of the lyrics where the characters directly refer to themselves as puppets, because apparently they never do that. They see themselves as fully fledged people in society, or animals, I guess. He was also informed during recording sessions that certain Muppets, such as chickens and penguins, do not speak and instead vocalise in onomatopoeic sounds. So I think he must have written some dialogue-esque parts of the song for the
Not
animals.
a fan.
That's
Not
the
a
way it
fan.
sounds. Like he just went, Muppets, that'll be easy. I'll just write some stuff. Not
Yeah.
actually like a fan who'd ever watched it.
Who's got the Oscar, Disney?
Well, both
Wait.
of them.
yeah, I think Disney have got quite a few.
It's funny you mention that actually, Dee, about him because there's quite a long form interview with him in Rolling Stone, which is actually about Muppets Most Wanted, because he was a consultant on the songs for that film. But he talks a bit about the experience of this film, and he essentially says that he was never really a huge Muppets fan as a child, although he was aware of it. So is that the kind of person you want writing songs? Possibly. We'll find out. So the first song, original song, so we're only talking about the original songs written for the film, is Life's a Happy Song, which bookends the film musically, first appearing when brother Gary and Walter waltz their way through Small Town, which is the name of the place where they live, to pick up Mary for their trip to LA. So what do we think?
Yeah, so when I first watched this movie, I don't think I really thought much of this song. Like, not much to write home about. It's a positive vibe and it puts a smile on your face at the beginning of the movie, so tick in a box, job done. But since I've rewatched it the other week, out of all the songs, it's the one that's stuck in my brain the most.
It's a real earworm.
Yeah, it's just a massive earworm, and I clearly should have rated it higher, much like this movie in general when I first watched it. The way it's sort of filmed is like, I really like the sort of classic musical aspect to it, and being a guy that's obsessed with Disney World, I love the sort of 1910s, 1920s idealistic Main Street vibe throughout the entire thing.
Ben?
Once this song gets going, I absolutely love it. I do like the terracing effect, where it builds, and then eventually it is a full-on musical ensemble number, more or less. It's one of those weird things where I think if you listen to this on, say, like the album, I think the diegetic element of it can be a bit off-putting because of the sort of use of, I guess, other tools to make sounds, or like the kind of non-singing elements of it, like when they're getting dragged when he says brakes on the bike. And I think that doesn't help it in just a pure song sense, but it makes it work well within the film. But once it gets into the full-on crescendo element, it doesn't matter, and it's just awesome.
Everything that
Yeah.
I need.
It's just so catchy. I think like when I saw the film the first time, this actually was the song that was really in my was the song that was just turning around in my head repeatedly over and over for like months. And when it was announced that it was one of the latest songs that had been nominated for Best Original Song, I was like, because I was like, oh yeah, Song from the Muppets is the song from the beginning, that the one that goes, I've got every, like Dee was just saying, and then it wasn't. I was like, that's surprising, because I really enjoyed that song.
Is it a hot take to say it should have won?
Maybe. Should we say it?
No. I've done it.
Well, I don't know.
It's
We'll
on the
get into
airwaves
that
now.
later. You said it. But yeah, I love that it's like a proper musical number, and I do, like you say, Ben, it like builds. I agree that when you listen to it on the soundtrack, and this is the soundtrack, this is a flaw in the soundtrack generally, there are too many dialogue heavy parts.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, like if you listen to a normal musical soundtrack, I think often because there are a lot of dialogue kind of lines that are sung, it works better, but with this it's just like there is literally just like dialogue from the film interspersed between the songs. Some of the songs, like Me and Julia Down by the Schoolyard, is in the wrong place for the album because it's actually the first song that features in the film, which I get, but it annoys me still. And it features in the soundtrack actually where the song Cars by Gary Newman features in the film, and it bothers me every time it comes on. But anyway, so couple of tidbits about the song. So it features cameos from Mickey Rooney, and dating it somewhat, the musical pop star Feist. Blink and you'll miss it. And most people won't even know who she is, I'm sure. But she did that song that
Is
went...
Feist the 1, 2, 3, 4?
It's the 1, 2, 3, 4 song, yeah. Because it wasn't until recently when I was watching it and my wife said, that's Feist. And I was like, who the heck is Feist? And now you know. It was the first song that Brett McKenzie wrote for the film. And at the time, he believed it was the only song he was writing. So he only signed up to write this one song because he was friends with the director, Bobbin. And so, yeah, he just like signed on to write this one song and obviously ended up writing more. He describes it as a successful musical number, but also a parody. If you parody something too heavily, though, it falls apart, so it needs to work for itself. Which I think it does, and I think that's kind of... I don't know if you guys agree, but I think that's kind of one of the good things about all the songs is like they're jokey, but it's not overblown. Like it feels like they're genuine songs in themselves, especially this one and Man on Muppet. They shut down Hollywood Boulevard for 2 evenings to shoot the finale. So that is the genuine Hollywood Boulevard, and they had about 100 extras in the dance number.
See, the thing with Hollywood Boulevard is, though, it goes on forever.
They shut down the whole thing, Ben.
There's some parts of Hollywood Boulevard that are not nice. Like, it goes so far that you get out into some very dodgy areas.
Maybe that's one of the areas they used.
Maybe that's
Maybe it was easy
when
to shoot.
the Walk of Fame. Like, if you start at the actual end of the walk, it takes about 100 names to like get to people you recognise. I think there's a guy in the night, like every generation that goes by, as you become less relevant, you move further away from the Grauman's Chinese Theatre.
Who's right outside the front door?
Mickey Rooney.
Of course.
That's why he's in the film.
Literally, actual Mickey Rooney.
just greeting
he's
people.
dead. He's dead, but you know,
Just
Jiminy Gilligan
ripping people's scabs off. So, the song was originally titled Everything Is Great, which is obviously a reference to the opening line of the song. I don't know why they changed it. When did the Lego movie come out? Maybe that's why. Was the Lego movie after this or before? Similar time.
after this. Has to be after this.
So maybe they stole it from this. Who knows? The director, Bobbin, was disappointed when he learned it was changed. I don't know why he was... I mean, I think it said he was saddened was the word, which seems strong, because I feel like the name they went with still is fine. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know why you would be upset about that.
No, I don't.
It seems trivial.
Yes.
Unless he suggested the line.
Yeah, maybe it's like a royalties thing where
Yeah, it could be a royalty.
he was going to get more money if it was called the other name.
So the second song is Pictures in My Head, which was the only original song not written by Brett McKenzie of the Flying Conchords, and it was written by Gianni Lurie, or Genie, Aris Arcontis, and Chen Neiman. And it's sung by Kermit as he walks through his mansion reminiscing about the heyday of the Muppets. Yeah, so the floor is open.
Any song that can include the word smorgasbord is good with me. I like it. It feels like it's the Rainbow Connection attempt.
Bitch music.
That's not just because it's Kermit singing it, but the tone of it, the stripped back, it's just like a piano. I know. Again, it layers and terraces into the bigger ensemble bit, but I think it works. I think it's nice. You almost ride the nostalgic wave, even if you haven't got that level of connection. Like, for example, talking about myself, I don't feel like I did yet. I felt warmth when it comes in. I think it's helped by the visuals again. I think if I was just listening to this song, I wouldn't get that. I've not got enough of a connection, but I think the film does it very well to, how he's walking through the halls and looking at the pictures and they come to life. I think it does well, but it's not Rainbow Connection.
Yeah, it's not Rainbow Connection, but I still think it has that real gut punch hitting you in the feels. Like, I mean, given the context of like the state of where the Muppets as a franchise was at the time, it almost feels like it was written as like the send-off, saying goodbye to the Muppets. I mean, thankfully it wasn't, and thankfully for me, holding back the tears, I know it was only the second song in the movie, so we still have a while to go. The thought of not having Kermit and the gang on the screen again.
I could do without Miss Piggy though, because I don't like Miss Piggy.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Miss Piggy fan.
No.
But I hadn't really thought about the fact that like this song maybe doesn't work without the visuals. I just wrote all my notes based on watching it, but now you've put that thought in my head. A lot of it doesn't really work because like they're no longer like memories coming to life.
It's not callbacks. Yeah, it's not callbacks.
It's just like, oh, Kermit's in a room with Fozzie whilst he makes a joke.
Yeah, I completely agree. It doesn't quite work the same way when you do listen to it back on the soundtrack.
Whereas Rainbow Connection does.
Yes. Hence why it won Best... Well, no, it didn't win, did it? It was nominated.
It won the Song of My Heart.
Won the Song of Your Heart, yeah. This song reminds me the most of the songs from the early Muppets films, which I think is probably intentional, because it's obviously it's a song about nostalgia and the good times and the previous Muppets escapades. So I think it works in that sense. I think it is a very visual in terms of, like you say, there are those cutaway bits that, like where they come out of the picture frames, which is actually interesting because there's quite I read a bit about that, the filming of that scene, because you don't really think about it, I suppose, when you watch it, but it transitions from a flat 2D image to moving Muppets, which is quite a technical feat, actually. I think it caused them quite a lot of challenges when they were actually producing it. They essentially had to have, like, the picture, and then they had to kind of take the picture out and leave the space behind and have the Muppets in the exact same position that they are in the pictures and then move them in.
Wow.
So it was quite...
I just assumed it was CGI.
No, it's not CGI. So it goes back to what you were saying about them like really being tangible. It's an actual effect.
Yeah, you really see that effect when, I think, is it the Electric Mayhem at the end? You sort of see the transition, and it does look impressive.
Yeah, so when you watch it next, have a good look at that, because I think it was difficult for them to film. Kermit has been quoted as saying about this song, "It was very emotional, and I think it will disprove critics who've said that the frog can't emote."
Who says that?
Critics, apparently.
I thought that's all he is.
Dickheads.
He literally is the emotion of the Muppets.
Yeah, he's the soul.
Yeah, he literally. If you had, I think you could get rid of any other Muppet, but if you got rid of Kermit, it's not going to work.
Agreed.
I mean, I like the Muppets. I think you could get rid of most of them, and you can get rid of Animal, who is a favourite, but you just can't get rid of Kermit.
I don't know if I'd watch it if Gonzo wasn't in it.
You could and should get rid of Miss Piggy, because they're in an abusive relationship and he needs help.
It's not healthy. But yeah, I think generally this song, it's nice. It probably doesn't quite hit the heights of some of the others, but I think it was intentionally trying to be more sincere, and I think it delivers on that. Yeah, let's go to the next song, which I'm sure we'll have loads to talk about. So it's called Me Party, and it is sung by Amy Adams and Ben's favourite Muppet, Miss Piggy, as their respective characters try to enjoy themselves, despite frustrations with their significant others. So yeah, what did we think about this song?
The 70s vibe is cool, I guess, but it's very much a filler song. It almost feels like Amy Adams had a contractual agreement to lead a song in the movie, so it couldn't just be put on the cutting room floor where it probably should end up, because it doesn't add anything to the movie. We've already had it explained that she's feeling lonely, and that's about it. It looks nice with the border, but yeah, move on.
It does feel a moment that is cheap to express in song. Even at my age now, I still find many scenes in films to be so awkward that I need to or want to fast forward. When she starts dancing in that room, I feel the shivers on my spine. My hair stand on end. I want to turn away and off. And it's not the most awkward song in the film, because we get to that one in a minute. But I just feel for the actor. There's something palpable. I'm like, oh, Amy, you deserve more than this.
Yeah,
you're going to go into a rival soon, Amy. Don't worry. You're going to be in a huge, amazing film. Just put up with it. I know you did Ella Enchanted, so people think you're a musical girl, but you're going to go on to bigger, better things.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because when we were watching it the other day, and my wife said that...
It's not Ella Enchanted, it's just Enchanted.
It's just Enchanted, yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, it was a bit of a coup that they got Amy Adams for this. Someone was like, this was before Amy Adams was, nominated for an Oscar.
When she was just Disney fodder.
When she was on The Office.
She was in The Office, yeah. She was in a couple of episodes of The Office. I think, like you said, Dee, it feels really it's just unnecessary, because I feel like they've already sold how she's feeling. We don't need the song to do it for us. Yeah,
the thesaurus gag is funny and it sends the feeling across. And it's not like this song is trying to really get to the heart of how sad she feels, because it's like a 70s dance song.
Yeah, it's an odd one. I feel like it's just it is filler. Exactly like you said, I had the same thought. It feels like contractual. And yeah, and as you said, Ben, it's awkward as hell to look at. So let's move on.
Oh, it's so awkward.
To maybe the more awkward song, or certainly more awkward scene.
Incredibly. Oh, I feel it now.
It's called Let's Talk About Me, and it's sung by Chris Cooper as Tex Richmond, which I think is obviously a great name, who taunts the Muppets with his success, and they tried to bargain with him for their theatre back. So yeah, there aren't many facts on this one either, but what do we think?
We just said it. It's like one of those things where if I was to fast forward it, I'd fast forward it so far, because again, I feel for this actor. He's a guy I recognise by face, which is hard when I'm trying so hard to not look at him, because it's why do they need a rap song? Why do they need a sort of a hostile, in your face rap song? I don't know why. This isn't rhetorical, guys. Can you please
anachronistic? I don't know. But, it's funny.
Yeah.
It did make me laugh.
I think is what they're going for.
It feels like the Donald Glover thingy's song that they do in Community. You know, when they do the rap.
The Spanish one.
No, not that one. There's one where they do a bit more, it's just like a cutaway and they're doing a rap.
Whoa, you better not be talking shit on that Glee episode.
I think I am talking that one, yeah, that's the one.
It's the best episode. Anyway, let's talk about me. It does make me laugh, and it to me it works better than the previous one. I don't think it's as cringeworthy because it finishes before it really starts to get under your skin. It's played as a gag, and that's all it needs to be. If there was a second verse, maybe I could feel what you're feeling, but I think it's in and out fast enough that it's just played for a laugh.
Yeah, it is mercifully short in the film. It is longer on the soundtrack.
Well, again, as before, I'm only going with the movie version.
Chris Cooper, who is the actor, who, like I say, someone who you've seen in things. I feel like he's good in this film, but I feel like they could have. I don't know if it seems like there was someone more famous that could have been in this role. I don't know who that person is. Maybe Christian Bale. But he said that he had a ball recording and filming this scene. The other great fact about this is that it was choreographed by Mickey Rooney's son, who is called Michael Rooney. Those are the facts I could find about it. I think I kind of err more on your side, D, in that I think it just about cuts it at the right time before it gets a bit like, ugh. But yeah, it is cringe. It is cringe.
To be fair, maybe the cuts help it. Like, it helps
break it up. It's when you listen to it as an actual
whereas Amy Adams has a good sort of 20 seconds where she's dancing in that room, and it's almost like a nightmare of like, you want the other people to just join in, just like, again, that scene in Enchanted where she's walking through the park and everyone joins in. Do you want it to do that? Just they all start dancing, and it's like the first song, and everyone's in on it. And it's always a big laugh, and we're all rubbing shoulders. And no, they don't care. They're in their real life, in their real world. And you're trying to turn this into a musical, Amy. No one cares. No one cares.
Okay, so the last song. Yeah.
Is it weird that there's two songs next to each other in the film, a couple of minutes apart, that both are called something me?
Oh yeah, that's true. That is weird. I think it's odd that there's 5 songs, but they do feel quite awkwardly placed. There's a decent gap between the first two.
There's a big gap,
and then there's a gap between the second and third, and then third and fourth come really quickly after each other. In fact, the last 3 come quite quickly after each other.
Yeah, I'm going to say Man on Muppet is not soon after this either.
So it's kind of odd because there is obviously the Life is Happy song closes the film as well. But yeah, I think it's because they had so many other songs there to get in there, like Rainbow Connection, like the Barbershop Quartet version of Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is immense. So yeah. Let's get on to the last song, which is arguably the most famous song from the film, and it is Man or Muppet, performed by Jason Segel, Peter Lintz, who is the voice of Walter as well as other Muppets, Bill Barretta as the Muppet Gary, who is also a Muppet performer, and then Jim Parsons, of course, as the human version of Walter. In the film, Gary and Walter wander LA questioning their true identities. Are they men, or are they Muppets, or are they somewhere in between? What do we think?
It's just so good. It's just so good. You get the feeling that when they were putting this song together and the scene, and everything together, they just knew they had a home run on their hands. The way it's filmed, I know, Ben, you said you don't like the fact that Jason Segel's face is Jason Segel's face.
No, I don't mind it when he's not happy. I'm fine when he's not happy.
I'm going to say, because in this scene, it looks like he's having the absolute time of his life in doing the sort of over-the-top dramatic music video in the rain, and then the stuff with the piano.
Oh yeah, I love that. I'm fine with it. I like the guy, I just don't like it when he's smiling.
Even though it's not even, like, in terms of cameos, a very big name in Jim Parsons, the reveal of him as the man version of Walter, it's perfect.
Yeah.
If you were to describe which actor looks most like a human version of a Muppet, you think of Jim Parsons. And it's staring you in the face the entire film.
It's scary, isn't it? It's actually quite scary.
Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't expecting it. And even when I watched it back, it's still a great reveal that's still, like I say, it's a home run. It's just perfect. The scene, the song, we have a winner.
Do you think it's confirmation that Jim Parsons can only play Sheldon? Or that everyone only ever sees him as that kind of slightly socially awkward individual that he does play on The Big Bang Theory, and his career is dead?
I don't even know if he cares. Like,
I don't think he cares. Yeah, because he's probably
he
never has to act again.
Sure. And still make with young Sheldon.
Oh God, how has he got 3 seasons?
I can still remember the sound of awe and laughter when he appeared in that mirror in the cinema. Like, it's one of the things I remember most about seeing the film at the cinema was the reaction that it got, because it was like a collective, like, Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect casting.
They work backwards from that scene.
Yeah.
Do you think in 10 years? Do you think in 10 years it works because people will not have a clue who he is?
Yeah, it's questionable whether people will know Jim Parsons is at that point, but at the time, everyone knew who he was, and it worked.
Yeah, he was the hot thing.
So, what do you think about the song, Ben?
I like it. I don't know if I like it a lot. I come in and out. I think the wordplay is incredibly clever and simplistic at the same time, which I think, like, you get it, you understand it, you can sing along with it, while it still has that, back and forth. Am I a manly Muppet or a Muppet of a man? They do it very well.
It's very Flight of the Conchords, I suppose.
Well, yeah. I wonder why. I always find it funny when there's, I guess, a narrative song in which they're going from being kind of, what am I? And I don't understand what turns them to understanding what they are. Like, the refrain doesn't give me anything, really. I know there's, like, a slight cut where there's, like, Kermit speaking and stuff like this, but I don't see how they've kind of, I guess, accepted that they're in the middle, but they do it very quickly. I'm fine. I'm not going to exactly sort of rip it apart because of that, but I just find it funny that they go from, what am I? Oh, yes, I am this.
Well, Walter's looking in the mirror, Ben,
tightly
seeing
packaged,
his reflection.
Tightly packaged. Yes.
Jason Segel's character Gary is on a tram, sitting in the rain. Isn't that enough to understand the deep complexities of one's identity? I think so.
Yeah, I like how clever it is.
Yeah, I mean, so Brett McKenzie cited. He's already had a name check. Harry Nilsson's ballads as a key inspiration, such as "Can't Live," etc., and also Eric Carmen's "All by Myself," which I think is very. You can definitely see that in there, or hear that in there even. He also said that some people have noted a Randy Newman influence, which maybe I can see a little bit of. Like this song from Toy Story 1.
Movies about a bug. No, sorry.
I mean,
you've got a man in Muppet.
You got a bug in me.
Yeah, so he was very flattered by that comparison, which he was like, I was a really big Randy Newman fan. Is like, was anyone? Was that a thing? Other than the fact that he did the Toy Story songs. He said he wanted the song to be hilarious but beautiful, sincere but ridiculous, which I think is ultimately what it was achieved.
Yep, that's exactly where it lands.
But he also really warmed to the idea of people having this kind of crisis and driving around trying to figure it out, was what he was quoted as saying. So yeah, I don't know why he wants people to be having identity crises, but maybe it's something we all have to go through. There was an interview with him in the New York Times, and he said the more serious the song is, the funnier it would be. That was kind of where they wanted to go with it. That's why the chorus is just these relentless long notes. And he says it's at the top of Jason Segel's range. There's something about...
Well, yeah, you
can hear that guy when he's singing it.
You think?
There's something about guys singing at the top of their range is really emotionally desperate.
While in key, I don't know if he just was like screaming.
Yeah. But I think that is
an unedited version.
Yeah. I think it's the true success of this song, though, is how sincerely it's sung and played in the film when it's clearly, nonsense. And that's why it works.
That's a good point.
So well. But it also does really feel like a proper pop ballad. It's kind of just perfect, really, for what it does. So he's talked about Jim Parsons' cameo. He described it as the role of a lifetime. But there were two other people considered for the role first.
Okay.
Do you want to try and guess who they are?
Oh God, I'm trying to think of someone big bean sprout of a person.
Yeah.
Who's that guy who played the? Oh God. I'm just John Walters.
No, I know. Yeah.
Oh right, I know what you mean. Yeah.
The one who plays Zap in the.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
It's John Waters, I think is his name.
Yeah, it's John Waters.
He's a famous director, and he directed Hairspray and the film all of.
Really?
Yeah. Famous director from that time period. No, they're both younger than that. I would say that one was very much in a lot of films of that time, but not so much now, so maybe very similar to Jim Parsons.
Oh, Ricky Gervais's friend.
Oh no, Stephen Merchant. No, good guess.
I was thinking of Michael Cera.
Michael Cera is the right answer.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see Michael Cera. The other one is Paul Rudd.
Not as funny.
Which confused me as well. Michael Cera can see, probably wouldn't have been as good. Jim Parsons was better. Paul Rudd I just don't get.
Yeah. That feels like just getting somebody for the sake of having somebody in the world.
Isn't Paul Rudd already plays that puppet in Mac and Me?
I don't think he's actually in that film. That's just a joke on Conan.
He is. Oh, he is. He is Mac.
I don't understand.
Do you know the reference, Alex?
But I can see that it's tickled you too. So
it's basically. I mean, you've got to watch the scene of it because he always asks to play. Like they cut away to a clip of like Paul Rudd or something in something, and it's always a clip from the film Mac and Me.
Yeah, it's like here's our new trailer for Ant-Man, and it'll be a clip from Mac and Me.
Just the same clip from Mac and Me, which means nothing until you've watched the scene.
Is this the thing where there's like a child rolling off a hill?
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah, because it was when every time he was interviewed by Conan O'Brien or something, and every time it was that same thing. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
it's been going for years now.
Right. I didn't.
He plays Mac.
He's not really in that film, is he?
No.
So to go back to the topic of the conversation, Man and Muppet did win Best Original Song at the Oscars. Although, and this is kind of related to what we were talking about with the Women's Euros, it only had one competitor on the night. There was only 2 songs nominated for Best Original Song in 2000 and... Well, it would have been the 2020. I think it was the 84th Oscars. The other song was Real in Rio, which is from the film Rio 2.
There was a Rio 2?
Apparently, yeah. So I was looking into why there was only 2, because I was like, there's surely something missed off. Because in some of the research that I did, it said that Life's a Happy Song and Pictures in My Head were also nominated. But they were part of the 39 strong shortlist. But in order to be actually nominated on the night, you have to receive a required average score of 8.35 out of 10 on the votes, and only 2 songs received that. And that was Man on Muppet and Real in Rio, so that was why there was only 2 songs nominated, which I thought was interesting.
Wow.
Why didn't they call it Rio de Janeiro?
Oh, God, Ben. Why didn't they? Maybe they did. I don't.
Or Rio Grande.
Why weren't you guys on the team that were writing the title for the film? So I don't know.
I was just waiting for you to stop talking so I could say that joke, Alex.
Ronnie James Rio? No, that doesn't work.
Top 5.
I was very happy with last week's top 5 since it was very simple to prepare, very simple to do, and you couldn't argue it because it's facts. So we're staying on the line of facts, and who better to look at than my favourite smiling actor,
Kermit.
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel.
I'm interested in what are the top 5 box office films by Jason Segel, and I am not counting animated films because that's just too difficult. So actually him embodied, fake smiling, pretending to enjoy himself. What are the top 5 Jason Segel
You want them in
films?
order because it's going to be a struggle.
Based on worldwide box office, yes.
Okay. Well, Forgetting Sarah Marshall is the only film that comes to mind.
The Muppets, obviously.
So you've already said the box office revenue for the Muppets.
165 million, which is quite a lot for a film starring Jason Segel. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, yes, must be on there.
He's Knocked Up.
Is he in that?
Yeah, he's one of the stoner friends.
He's one of the friends.
So that the 4-Year Engagement was a film that I saw him in with Emily Blunt.
5
what? 5-Year Engagement, is that what it's called? So.
5-year
I
engagement.
thought you said that was number 5. The 5-Year Engagement, sorry.
There was 4 sequels to that film.
The 5-year engagement 5.
He was in that TV show Freaks and Geeks, wasn't he? And then was he in that film that was kind of the same people? That was like Summer.
What, you want about that Wet Hot
American Summer? Yeah.
No, I don't think he was in that. The man has not been in a lot of films, obviously, because he's at the bank.
So we've named 4 films.
Okay, so you've named 4 films. What? Knocked Up, The Muppets, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and the 5-year engagement.
Yeah, and he's obviously in something else.
He's in lots of other things. Lots of other things in the top 5, actually.
Is there any franchise kind of films, big franchise films that he's in?
No.
Is he like just like, oh, I Love You Man? That's a film that he's in. That's a good film.
Oh yeah,
he's in I Love You Man.
That
yeah.
one.
Do you want to lock in those 5 films?
Yes.
It feels like we should.
In what place? Because you might get a point based on placing. What order would you go in?
Well, I would say that the Muppets are number 1 just based on that number.
Okay.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall is the next one I can think of that was really popular.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
yeah.
Okay. So you got Knocked Up, the 5-year engagement.
Yeah, Knocked Up was massive, wasn't it? So Knocked Up.
Yep.
I Love You Man, 5-year engagement.
Yep. Okay, locked in. 0 points. Well done, guys. I'm not going to tell you the answers. It was that terrible. No. Number 1 is Gulliver's Travels, the
Jack Black
terrible
film.
Jack Black film. It was $232 million at the box office.
Another film with Jack Black tied up.
I'm Jack Black!
Number 2 is Knocked Up. Bad Teacher. Remember the film Bad Teacher?
Oh, wait, that thing where
His
Bad
love
Neighbours.
interest.
Was he in that? That thing with Zac Efron?
He was not, no.
Oh.
No.
Who was that?
Seth Rogen.
The 4th is The Muppets. And the 5th was the worst film that was out there just to advertise the cloud, Sex Tape. A film literally to advertise a way to store your data.
So we actually only got one of the two.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I Love You Man, and The 5 Year Engagement were not, of a man that has like 12 films in this list, they were not in his top 5.
That's shocking.
It is, yes.
I'm surprised there
unfortunately.
were 3 films that he'd made that we didn't know.
I Love You Man is a very, very good film, though.
I'm forgetting Sarah Marshall is a really good film as well.
Yeah, it's pretty
The
good.
5 Year Engagement was a pretty good film actually as well.
Does he play a puppeteer in that?
Yes, he does.
Doesn't he do
Yeah,
like
he has
a
that
vampire,
yeah,
like
it's got-
Dracula,
Yeah.
thing? Dr. Acula. I'm pretty sure he uses that joke at some point, and I think Scrubs deserves royalties.
So it's time to figure out what is the best song of the movie The Muppets. I think, well, I know this is a fight between 2 songs, really. It's Life's Happy Song versus Man on Muppet. So, Alex, go ahead.
The song that always really sticks in my head is Life is a Happy Song. I feel like as a song, Man on Muppet works better, which is probably why it's kind of... It's the funnier of the two, and it's the one that's like a more of a rounded, compact verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, bridge, chorus kind of situation, and works quite nicely. But I think the one that I have like more of an emotional connection to is Life is a Happy Song, so I think I'll go for that, just to, stir things up.
Fair enough. Ben?
Alex is stirring, I'm serving it, because it is Life is a Happy Song.
Ooh.
I've been singing it all day. I just love the upbeat tempo of it. I love the crescendo that it hits. Once it gets going, it just feels like a proper musical song. I think it sets the film up to the point that it kind of cruises from there. As in a good thing, I think it hits that point and just stays there. I think if you didn't have that song, I think it's going to take a while for it to build. I think you start at the top.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going back and forth since I watched it during this episode in my brain, which one to go for. So I'm kind of glad that the decision is out of my hands and can say that Life is a Happy Song is the official best song of the Muppets. If you hear anyone else claim differently, they haven't listened to this podcast.
Yeah, people at the Academy who voted it.
So that brings it into another episode of That Song from That Movie. Let us know which one you think is the best song on Twitter. Who wants to say it this week? Alex, what is our Twitter handle?
TSFTM Pod.
Thank you. So you can help the podcast in many ways. One of those ways is on Reddit by sharing this episode on the random subreddit. But Ben, what random subreddit should they pick this week?
Oh gosh, let me try and get like a 6 degrees of separation. Charles Dickens.
Popular subreddit.
Okay, I can see the through line. So you can also help the podcast by telling all your friends, giving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts, signing up to our Patreon, or buying our merch. All the links are in the show notes. So all that's left now is to do some goodbyes. So it's goodbye from myself, goodbye, and goodbye from Alex.
All hail the Hobo King.
And goodbye from Ben.
I honestly still can't believe they were able to rhyme with smorgasbord.
So goodbye everybody. Bye.
Waka waka.
Ah, how charming, the finale.